Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a drugstore foundation, best and worst, and I have tried, let's say, 8 drugstore foundations that cater to dark skin women, and I've pretty much tried every single one that is in the UK market. I'm not going to include any which have been discontinued or anything like that, just because you can't go and get it. But yeah, I have 8 foundations here which I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to go from worst to the best. And I'll start off with the best and I'll go to the worst. Let's do it that way because it's always nice to start on a positive note. Yeah, so if you have come across my videos, please subscribe, please like this video, and yeah, let's get straight started. I have oily skin, oily combination skin. I get slightly dry patches on my cheeks, but that depends on what products I'm using. But I'm genuinely quite oily. I would say, quite a yellow, a yellow undertone, so I don't like orangey foundations, and so I like my foundations to be slightly on the yellow side. And yeah, I like satin to matte foundations. I don't really like glowy foundations, but I have a few here which are slightly on the glowy side. My number one foundation which I absolutely love is the Rimmel True Match foundation, and this is in the colour 503 Mocha, and it says it's 24-hour hydration, pore blurring. I don't suffer with pores, so I'm not really bothered about the pore blurring. So the things that I like about this foundation, it's about a medium coverage foundation, which I love. So it's really good for everyday wear. I think it is quite it's got a really nice texture in the sense that it's not too thick and it's not runny either. It gives you a really natural look. I always set my foundations because I like them to last longer, but it gives you a really nice natural look. It doesn't look cakey. The colour match on this is absolutely perfect for my skin tone, and they have one that's darker than this one as well, and it's only £7.99, and I just think this is an amazing everyday drugstore foundation. I would definitely recommend it. This is my second bottle and I will be repurchasing a third one. My next favourite foundation is the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable foundation. Now, the thing that I love about this foundation is that it actually feels like a high-end foundation. This is the only foundation from the drugstore which I actually feel like could get away with being a higher end foundation, just because it gives you really good coverage. So it's medium to full coverage, but at the same time it's got a really thin texture which is not drying, but it's really good coverage, so it doesn't look cakey. I just feel like whenever I wear this foundation, I feel like my foundation is gliding on really flawlessly, really easy. It is super blendable, like they have said, it's very blendable. This one does give a dewy kind of finish, and actually if you look at it very close up, it has slight sparkles and slight kind of iridescence in there, but you don't actually see the iridescence on your skin. So if you're worried about being oily and this is going to make you very oily, it's not, don't worry about that. Yeah, so I love this foundation. I think it's just like in summer when you don't want a really cakey face, or you still want to wear high coverage but you don't want to feel like you're wearing thick foundation, I feel like this is the best one. I always set it so I don't have a problem with it being overly oily, but I would always recommend that you set your foundation if you have oily skin, regardless of I love the pump, I love the way it looks. I just think this feels impeccable to say that it's only £10, something like that. My third favourite foundation is the Maybelline Dream Satin Liquid Foundation, and I've only had this for a few months, and I love, firstly, I love the colour shades of it. Like with this one as well, they have quite a few shades darker as well, which I just love. So in summer, I know I will have a shade. Same with this one as well. They have a huge range, both in Superdrug and in Boots, for dark skin women, which is just amazing. This gives Again, medium to full coverage. Unlike this is like a true medium. This is medium to full coverage. Also blendable like the L'Oreal True Matte Foundation. I just love the colour of it, and I feel like whenever I wear this foundation, I usually get compliments, people asking me, ooh, what foundation are you wearing? And I'm just like, it's just Maybelline. Yeah, it's not too thick, it's not cakey, it's just everything that I like in a foundation, and I just think Maybelline have done a really, really good job with this one. The next foundation which I'm going to be talking about is this is the fourth foundation. They've recently reformulated this foundation, so something has changed, and I think what has changed about this foundation is that it's not as thick as it used to be, and the coverage is not as good as it used to be. So I still really like this foundation, and I think it is still a really good foundation, but I think they've definitely changed the formula. They've added a pump. It's thinner in texture. It says combination oily, but I don't find it to be overly drying. It's a pretty natural finish on my skin tone. The colour that I have is 400 Caramel, and if I didn't say, the colour that I have in the Maybelline Dream Satin is 62 Sandalwood Beige, and in the L'Oreal I have, I think it's 8 point something. I think it's 8 point something, but anyway, I'll put it all in the description box. But anyway, the colour that I have in the Revlon Colorstay is 400 Caramel. I really like this foundation. From what I remember what it used to be, like, it used to be much thicker, it didn't have a pump, and it had higher coverage. So this, I would say, is more of a I'd still say it's full coverage, but it's not as full as it used to be. It's not like ultimate full coverage. It's more of a light full, slightly medium. This gives kind of like a natural finish, not dewy at all, but also not matte, so very natural, perhaps satin. I'm actually wearing this today, and I've been wearing my foundation since 10 o'clock this morning, and I think it's holding up pretty well, but I have set my foundation and I have repowdered for the purpose of filming this video. But yeah, I think it looked pretty good to say that I've been wearing my makeup for like, how many hours? I don't know, 8 hours? I can't do maths right now, I'm not thinking like that, but I've been wearing my foundation for quite a while. Never tested it for 24 hours. I don't think it would look good by 24 hours, but yeah, I think this is a really good one as well. It's slightly more expensive. I would say that I probably will not repurchase this because the formula has changed, and I just don't think it's as full coverage as it used to be. So a foundation which I actually think is quite similar to the Revlon Colorstay, which they don't actually stock in UK drugstores, but I found this in London when I went down there a few months back. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect, and mine is in 11 Amber. I think I do like this foundation. So this is the fifth one, so it's slightly going on my least favourite. I don't always reach for this foundation because I find that it's sticky. I don't know what it is about this foundation, but I definitely think it's sticky, and when you put it on, it's definitely full coverage, like, no doubt about it, it's definitely full coverage, but it's also not matte. So it's just, it feels sticky, and when I'm putting it on with like any sort of kabuki stippling brush, I can feel my foundation feeling tacky, and I just don't like the way that it feels. I won't be repurchasing this foundation because I just don't think it's anything mind-blowing, but I think it's an okay foundation. It's good coverage, they have a good amount of shades in this range, which is amazing, but I just don't like the way that it feels on my skin. It feels quite tacky, and it has a weird smell as well. I don't like the smell of it. I do like it, I do use it here and there, but it's not one that I always reach towards. The next foundation, which I really wouldn't recommend, is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. Mine is in 350. I think it doesn't have a name, just 350. 350 Caramel actually, and I would get a darker shade because this was not the right shade for me. Anyway, I think this foundation does nothing. I don't think it does anything to your skin. I feel like it's like a light coverage, I wouldn't even say medium, it's light. The only good thing about it is that it's quite buildable. It's definitely not matte. It does not last throughout the day. It's not very good covering imperfection, so if you're after that, I wouldn't recommend. However, I might repurchase this in the darker shade when I go away in a summer, when I just want something, you know, a little bit of foundation but not too heavy, because it doesn't feel heavy at all. It doesn't feel heavy at all. It doesn't give good, like, really good coverage. So I feel like when I'm away, might repurchase this and try this out. I might repurchase it and try it out, and get the darkest one. I think the packaging is great because it's really travel friendly, so that's another reason why I would probably repurchase it for summer. But for everyday wear, I just don't reach for this. I wouldn't recommend it in general. You know, maybe if you're like 15 and you don't want to wear too much makeup, maybe this would be good, but other than that, this doesn't really do much. So, second to last is the Maybelline. It seems like I don't like Maybelline foundations, but anyway, this is the Maybelline Dream Velvet foundation, and I got this last year when I went away, and I got quite dark, so I thought, okay, Maybelline, they didn't have an in-between. I'm in between I think it's caramel and coconut, so I just got coconut, and the colour actually worked for me quite well. And at that time, I just needed a really cheap foundation from the drugstore, and sorry, I was just talking, but you can actually hear this foundation, like, can you hear it? It sounds like it's like clumped up in there, and it's like the whole clump of foundation just moving. Thing that I don't like about this foundation, I think it's really patchy. That's number one. When you put it on, it kind of clings. If you have any kind of dry patch, I wouldn't even touch this foundation because it clings onto any patch that you have, especially when you're in the sun a lot. On holiday, your skin can get, you know, a bit patchy, and this clings onto that, so it's horrible. I don't like the mousse texture. It's not very smooth and gliding. I feel like it's just not a good foundation. I definitely would not recommend this. I'd say it's like a medium coverage, light to medium coverage. It doesn't do much. It's Dream Velvet. It says soft matte. This is not soft matte. Like, you would get greasy wearing this foundation. I just think it sounds horrible. It feels horrible. It looks horrible on the skin. Like, it's patchy, and it's just not nice. I wouldn't recommend this. Don't. Sorry if my camera cut off a little bit. My battery died, so I had to just quickly recharge it so I can end this video with my least favourite drugstore foundation, which is the Maxfactor Face Finity All Day Flawless 3-in-1 Foundation, Concealer and Primer. And so when I heard that it was a 3-in-1, obviously I had a high expectation because I just thought this has got to be amazing because it's got everything that I could possibly need. The first thing that I don't like about this foundation is the colour of it. Now, I said I like my foundations to be slightly on the yellow side, and that is because I said I like my foundations to be slightly on the yellow side because I feel like that is what best suits me. I like cooler tone foundation opposed to an orange, but this takes it to a new level. This foundation is extremely yellowy and looks dirty, mucky. It just looks wrong. The colour of it makes me look ill. Like, whenever I put this on, I just feel like my skin tone looks funny. Secondly, considering this foundation is a 3-in-1 foundation, so it's concealer and foundation, I was expecting this foundation to be high coverage. This is not a high coverage foundation. It's medium, kind of it's like it tries to cover, but it's not quite covering. Every time I have applied this foundation, I've just been disappointed by the coverage of it. I just feel like it's a concealer and a foundation, so I shouldn't really have to put on any more layer. This should do the whole trick, but it just doesn't. It's barely medium. I feel like my Rimmel Matte Perfection, which is a true medium, covers more and looks better, and I just don't like the finish of this foundation. It kind of looks a bit oily and greasy. I just don't like this foundation. You can try it out yourself. I have heard not very good reviews about this foundation in the past, and I just thought, do you know what, I'm going to try it out. And for £12.99, I think that's quite expensive for the drugstore, so I was expecting quite high things from this foundation. I just think they need to work on it. They need to work on their skin shades, and they also need to work on their concealing foundation aspect of it, because this just doesn't do anything. So that is my foundation roundup. That is pretty much most of the foundations that they have currently in the UK market. So yeah, if there's any more that you want me to try, let me know. I'm gonna try buy more higher end foundations. I already have one actually currently in my collection, but I'm gonna try a few more higher end foundations because I just miss them. I miss having a really good high end foundation, and yeah, I'm gonna be trying that. And when I do that, I may come back and do like a high end foundation roundup. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!